Hello, happy and smart developers. Welcome to the coding board. This is brand new session of series UI technologies. And today we are going to discuss very important topic. The topic is scripting language. We need to understand what is difference between programming language and scripting language. In last session we have already learned that with the help of HTML, CSS and JavaScript we can create a website. HTML and CSS are just syntaxes, but JavaScript is a scripting language. So it is very necessary for us to understand what is scripting language. So let's begin the session. Introduction to scripting language. Linux shell scripting was available earlier, but it does not support object orientation. So people move to another scripting language which supports object orientation. For example, Perl. Here we need to understand the languages which makes use of principles of object oriented programming system or object oriented programming structure are called as are called as object oriented programming languages. Okay, and the languages which does not make use of principles of object oriented programming system are not object oriented programming languages. Okay, so this is the basic difference between what is program or what is object oriented programming language and what is non object oriented programming language. For example, C does not support OOPS principles, hence C is not object oriented programming language, whereas Python supports object orientation. That means Python makes use of principles of OOPS. That's the reason Python is object oriented programming language. Now, so in this point we have learned that initially Linux shell scripting was there, but it was not supporting OOPS. That's the reason people moved to another languages which support OOPS. And that for example Perl is one scripting language which support OOPS principles. Okay, now let's move on. The term scripting refers to loosely typed, weakly typed, lightweight programming. What is the meaning of scripting? Scripting refers to loosely typed, weakly typed, lightweight programming. So here loosely typed means non-traditional. Here loosely typed means non-traditional, or we can say programming friendly. For example, C is high level language, but C is not that much programmer friendly, means C is traditional programming language. That's the reason C is strongly typed programming language. Now, we are not talking about C language, we are talking about scripting languages, correct? So, let's understand what is loosely typed. This upcoming point will give clarity regarding the same. JavaScript is considered as weakly typed or untyped programming language. JavaScript is considered as a weakly typed or untyped language. In JavaScript, we do not need to declare a type of variable while its declaration. This means that JavaScript will figure it out what type of data you have and make the necessary adjustments so that you do not need to redefine your different type of data. Suppose I want to declare one variable. Why we use variable? We use variable to store some value. So suppose I am storing one value in some variable a. This is string. Okay, so I do not need to declare type of data, type of a. Instead, JavaScript scripting language will automatically figure it out what type of data you have and make the necessary adjustment. In future, if this value will change, then also I do not need to mention type of data. Instead, JavaScript scripting language will figure it out what type of data you have and will make the necessary adjustment. But we know very well in C programming language it is not the same case. In C programming language, while declaration only, we need to mention type of the data. Okay, so if programming language is uh, not giving any kind of restriction or not making us mandatory to mention particular type of data, then we can call it as weakly typed or loosely typed programming language. And because of that it becomes programmer friendly, because programmer no need to worry about type of data or what type of value we are storing into the variable. Now here one more point is there, lightweight. What is the meaning of lightweight? Lightweight means scripting languages are interpreter based programming languages. We have already learned difference between compiler based programming language and interpreter based programming language. What is difference between compiler and what is difference between interpreter? Compiler will take whole code at once, whereas interpreter will read each line of the code one line at a time fashion. Means it will read one line, it will interpret that particular line and then it will move to another line. Correct. So it will take less amount of memory. So it will take less amount of memory. Because of that we can call it as lightweight programming language. So here in scripting language we do not need to declare type of data, we do not need to declare type of data. Because of that lots of syntax restriction is not there, as there is no lots of syntax restriction or type conversion. Because of that there is less line of code, and it is interpreter based programming, interpreter based programming. Because of that scripting languages are loosely typed or weakly typed, non-traditional, or we can say programmer friendly, lightweight, lightweight interpreter based programming languages. Let me repeat once again because this is very important point. Scripting languages are loosely typed or weakly typed, lightweight interpreter based programming languages. Now let's move on, you will have more clarity. What is next point? On the other hand, coming to C++ or Java, these two are strongly typed languages. Why? Because at the time of declaration only we need to provide type of data, and if we want to do type conversion then we need to do type conversion explicitly. That programming language will not handle type conversion implicitly, unlike JavaScript. Now, strong typing means that the type of value doesn't change in unexpected way. Strong typing means that the type of value doesn't change in unexpected ways. A string containing only digits doesn't magically become a number. For example, suppose here is, just for understanding purpose I am giving example. Here a is one variable. In this I am storing one string value which is having only digits 1 2 and 3. So because of this double quotes, this value is string. But suppose I am having another variable b which is holding value 4. So here 4 is what type? Here 4 is integer type, or 4 is number. But if I want to do addition, then automatically there will be addition. Automatically this 1 2 3 1 2 3, this string will be converted into number type, where in JavaScript or in scripting language. Okay, where in scripting language. But this is not the case in strongly typed programming languages. For example, C++ or Java. Type of value will not change unexpectedly. Type of value doesn't change in unexpected ways. A string containing only digits does not magically becomes a number, as may happen in Perl. Okay, understood? In Perl it is possible that a string containing only digits does not magically become a number, or we can say that type of value doesn't change unexpected ways. Type of value doesn't change unexpected ways. Every change of type requires explicit conversion. In C++ or Java, for every type conversion we need to write code for explicit type conversion. Hope now you have understood why we call scripting language as weakly typed, loosely typed, lightweight, interpreter based programming languages. Now let's move forward. Reading every line of code with mechanism of one line at a time. Reading every line of reading every line of code with mechanism of one line at a time instead of whole program or set of statements is known as interpretation. Okay, just now I have explained all scripting languages are programming languages. Not all programming languages are scripting languages. A scripting language is programming language that executes tasks within special runtime environment. This is very important point. This is very important point. A scripting language is a programming language that executes tasks within a special runtime environment by an interpreter instead of a compiler. Okay, please pay attention. This is very important point. Here scripting language is a programming language that executes scripting language is a programming language that executes a task within special runtime environment by an interpreter. Let me repeat once again. Scripting language executes tasks within a special runtime environment by an interpreter instead of a compiler. They are usually short, fast, and interpreted from source code to bytecode. As I have already discussed, scripting languages are programming friendly, and we no need to perform any explicit type conversion if value type of value changes unexpected way. So here line of code is less, and because these scripting languages are not traditional or we can say these scripting languages are programming friendly, so syntax is very less as compared to other programming languages because of that. And another thing is these are interpreter based programming languages, because of that less line of code is there, less logic is there. As less line of code is there, less logic is there, less error is there, because of that less time it will take to execute, and because of that there will be more quality. So less line of code, less logic, less error will will result into less time of execution, and this will automatically give more quality and more productivity. These are specialty of scripting languages. Hope you have understood the exact difference between programming language and scripting language. Scripting language are weakly typed, loosely typed, interpreter based, programmer friendly programming languages. Their beauty is less line of code, less logic, less error, more quality, more productivity, and they are taking less time for execution. Now let's move forward. What is purpose of scripting language? This is very important. Already we have programming languages, correct? Already we have programming languages to write business logic. Then why we need scripting language? The reason is a scripting language is a programming language designed for integrating and communicating with other programming languages. A scripting language is a programming language designed for integrating and communicating with other programming language. Let me help you to understand. Suppose this is my code. This is my code written in some XYZ programming language. So using scripting language I can communicate or I can integrate with this programming language. So this is the actual purpose of scripting language. What is the actual purpose of scripting language? To integrate and to communicate with other programming language. Now, due to emergence of web-based applications, scripting languages are becoming more popular today. Why scripting languages are becoming more popular today? Because we need web-based applications to perform any online operation. That web-based application is nothing but website, correct? And we know very well browser understands only CSS, HTML and JavaScript, correct? So because of this scripting languages are booming in the market because emergence of web-based applications. Now let's move forward. Types of script. What are types of script? Before that, let me revise once what is difference between programming language and scripting language. Scripting languages are loosely typed, weakly typed, non-traditional, programming friendly, interpreter based, lightweight programming languages. And the important thing is, scripting language executes tasks in special runtime environment. Special runtime environment by an interpreter instead of compiler. Here it is, that point is here. Scripting language is also one programming language but executes tasks in special runtime environment by an interpreter instead of a compiler. Okay, and also we have learned beauty of scripting language. Also we have learned purpose of programming language: to communicate and to integrate within other programming language. We make use of scripting language, and because of emergence of web based applications, scripting languages are booming in the market. Now there are two types of scripting languages. One is client side scripting language, one is server side scripting language. What is the difference between client side and server side scripting language? See, browser, the script which is running within a system in which browser is installed is called local host, which is visible to user. So the script which is executing in local machine, or the script which is executing in local system, is called client side scripting language. And the script which is running in server, the script which is running in server or remote host, which is at remote location, that scripting language or that script is server side script. Okay, browser is an interface between client and server. With the help of browser only, user can communicate with server. Okay, so browser is an interface between client and server. So this is the basic difference between client side scripting language and server side scripting language. Now let's move forward. Just now we have learned client side scripting language. The script which is running within the web browser is called as client side scripting. The script which is running within the web browser is called as client side scripting. Example: JavaScript, jQuery, TypeScript, AppleScript. These are examples of client side scripting languages. Let me repeat once again. The script which is running in browser, the script which is running within browser is called as client side script, which is called as client side script. All UI technologies comes under client side technologies. Client side scripting language are also called as front end technologies. Okay, now let's move forward. Now let's understand what is server side scripting language. Server side scripting language. Server side scripting language is a scripting language which is running within the web server. There are two things. One is client machine, another one is server machine. In client machine we have browser. Browser understands HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So the script which is running within browser is known as client side scripting language, client side scripting language. And the script which is running in server, the script which is running within server is called as server side scripting language. Okay, server side scripting language. So what are the examples of server side scripting language? Python is there. So what are the servers? Torando, Green Unicorn, WSGI, these are servers. PHP is there. PHP will run in Apache HTTP server. Correct. Now Node.js is there. So it will run in server side JavaScript server. Server side JavaScript server. Now W3C is there. W3C is there. It will run in Jigsaw server. Server side scripting languages are also called as backend technologies. Server side scripting languages are also called as backend technologies. So it is very much clear that scripting language is programming language, but all programming languages are not scripting language. Scripting language is loosely typed, weakly typed, interpreter based, lightweight programming language. Now script will run in special special runtime environment by an interpreter. Script will execute tasks. Script will execute tasks in runtime, special runtime environment by an interpreter. Okay. And then we have learned beauty of scripting language, as it is non-traditional programmer friendly language, hence less line of code, less error, less logic, and fast execution, and it gives more productivity. This is beauty of scripting language. And because of emergence of web-based applications, scripting languages are booming in the market. Purpose of scripting languages is to communicate and integrate with other programming language. This is the basic and whole purpose of scripting language. Then we have learned what is server side scripting language and what is client side scripting language. The scripting languages which are executing in browser are called client side technologies or client side scripting languages, and the script which are running in server within server are called server side scripting languages. That's it in this session. Let's meet in another session. Thank you.